Well, hey, good morning, friends. How are you? Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to talk about organization and time management. Now, I know they're not the sexiest topics ever, but I think when you hear what I have to say, it might give you a little bit of a different perspective about how to manage your time and how to make those priorities a real, true priority. Like that's what's most important is if you're like me, I'll back up a little bit. If you're like me, sometimes, you have your calendar, right? You've got your calendar for the day. So you've got patients on your calendar, you've got a few, maybe you got a lunch meeting or you have some other kind of call you have to be on or and your day just gets full. Well, that's what I call the tail wagging the dog. Okay, your calendar dictates where you go, as it should. But what happens is we let the tail wag the dog, meaning we have no control over the things that are important. Now, I wouldn't disagree that seeing patients every day and working with clients isn't important. Wouldn't say that a bit. Like that's got to be a priority on your calendar. Super important. However, when that becomes the focus of your day and all the other things that are important, really important, get pushed to the side or left over for later, let's say. So you may have, in a meeting with your accountant, well, you wouldn't say that that's not important. So you're going to make sure that there is time on your calendar for that appointment. You're going to, block that out. You're going to leave the office. You're going to go meet with the accountant. You make that a priority because that's an important meeting or an attorney or whatever it is you're meeting. But what about the meetings that you need to have or you establish for yourself as priorities? Those are the ones that often get pushed to the side in lieu of packing your schedule full with patients because after all they need to get in and it generates revenue and that's what we need, et cetera. And the ball kind of rolls downhill and pretty soon it gets out of control. At the end of the day, you've worked so hard all day, and you are whipped at the end of the day. And then you've got emails that you have to check. And then you've got a bank statement that you have to look at. And then you have, you're trying to hire an employee. And so you've got to get some resumes and reviews done. And the things that are priorities for you growing and moving your business forward become left over at the end of the day. So, how do we switch that around? Well, I was recently listening to a training by someone who was talking about how to create your three big priorities. In fact, I'm going to share the strategy that he shared with me in this training that I was watching. And I'm going to try and make it really simple and actionable for you. But this was pretty eye opening for me. And I'm good with my priorities, but I could definitely be better. I'm pretty good at it, but I know I've got room for improvement. So I want to share with you what he taught me. We're going to expand it a little bit, make it a little bit more relevant for you as a clinician. And then hopefully you will be able to take this information and start to make different choices about how you're spending your time as it relates to what's important to you. Now, as a healthcare provider, you have a few priorities. We would not argue about these priorities. Your priority is to get the word out about what you do, right? In other words, promote your brand, promote your message, promote the wonderful things that you're doing. So that's your job. And as a CEO, of course, that's your job, right? You got to promote your brand, which is you or your clinic. Number two, you got to provide good care for your people. I mean, you have to show up and be a good clinician. You can't be crappy at what you do. So you have to take care of those people. That's a priority for you. So that would include like keeping your skills sharp and attending seminars and making sure that you're providing the best possible care you can for the people that you serve. That's easy. And then I would argue that priority number three is to really make sure that your business is sustainable, because after all, at the end of the day, if it's not sustainable and you're losing $5,000 a month, like how long can you keep doing that? We don't want that. So I would argue that a third really important priority is for you to keep a, thriving, sustainable business. So that means, there's got to be some business activity that you're including in what you're doing. Things like paying the bills and making sure that your overhead or your expenses don't exceed your income. And the income comes from serving your patients, but you've got to manage or regulate those expenses. And things like, making sure that your softwares are up to date and that you've got, viral protection on your things and that your staff is being compensated well, or that you're doing regular reviews. I mean, all that stuff just kind of takes time. It just takes time, but it's part of what we have to do is in owning a clinic or a practice. Now, so that sounds like a lot. And it kind of is a lot. Like if you wrote down all the things that you have to do with just those three things, those are your objectives. Those are your priorities. That's what you got to focus on. That's your job. Okay. At a high level. But how does that translate then to every day? The things that you really need to do? Well, here's what I like to say. Yes, those are what we would call your, objectives, let's say. Your objective, your goal is to promote your practice, take the best care of your patients possible, and make sure that you have a thriving business. I don't think any of us would argue about that. But where we have to get granular here is to choose what is the thing or things that you need to be focusing on right now, big priorities that are in your business. These are big goals or big, what should I say, tasks maybe, or objectives is a word that I like to use. I don't really like the word goal because it is a little elusive. An objective seems a little bit more concrete to me. So what are the objectives that you're trying to accomplish right now? Maybe an objective is to write some nurture emails. Now, inside Clinical Business Academy, we just finished one of our sprints. And that's a membership I have for practitioners who are really, really ready to move their practice forward, to get in and be the good business owner and get that practice so that it's profitable. So we just finished writing these nurture email series. Well, it takes a little bit of time, but we use some AI to help us, and we have some topics that we can choose from and a list of topics that I gave them. But, for these practitioners that are in my Clinical Business Academy, they know that they have to continue to get out a nurture email. Well, maybe one of your objectives is to write out the next 3 months, 12 nurture emails if you send them once a week. Great objective. Great priority, if we were going to call it that. Great. That's a great one. But then you look at your day and you back to the tail wagging the dog, and your calendar's dictating how your body's moving because the tail's wagging the dog. And so you show up and already there's 3 messages and your staff is there, or you don't have a staff and you turn the lights on, you realize the computer won't boot up, but your first person's coming in the door and you got to go, and how are you going to check them out? And then you don't have any internet because it went down, so you can't run a credit card, and you're trying to wear all the hats and do all the things and take care of the people, and you're distracted. And before you know it, one emergency after the next, after the next, after the next, and it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and you're thinking, I am dang exhausted. And what have I done today? I worked so hard today and I got nothing done. How many times have you said that? I've said that 1,000 times. I worked so hard today and I got nothing done. What if, back to my example with this nurture email, if whatever the objective is that you really, the goal, the task that you really have your mind set to accomplish, what if you said, okay, look, I'm going to set out 30 minutes at the beginning of every day, or an hour at the beginning of the day. I'm going to come in early, or I'm going to stay late, or I'm going to extend my lunch by 30 minutes on each side so that I can take an hour to write and then an hour to eat lunch, whatever. What if you did that? What if instead of letting the day dictate what you do, what if you decide what this priority task or objective should be and put it on your calendar? So with this training that I was listening to, what the recommendation was to write down a list of 6 things that you need to get done in order of importance. So it might be that you need to buy a new computer. It might be that you need to get these nurture emails written. It might be that you need to create some social posts. It might be that you need to, I'm not talking little tasks like, call the insurance. I'm not talking that. I'm talking things that are going to take you some mental space to accomplish, not a to-do list. I'm talking about that. These are the big rocks. These are the big things that you go, I got to get this big project accomplished. Like for me, when I'm creating a new seminar, that's not something I'm going to do in a day. But I also know that I can't spend the whole day in that kind of cerebral activity. It just, I'm exhausted and I'm not productive. So I know for me, mornings are good. And the way my body works, I'm pretty good late in the evening. So if I can tackle it those 2 times of the day and time block in those 2 times, then the rest of the day, I have time to see the patients or do all the other things that are what I'm responsible for as a business owner and a clinician. Is this making sense to you? Do you guys get what I'm saying? So when you can find the thing that you go, I've got to tackle this project. I'm challenging you to make a list of 6 things that you need to tackle. One of them might be change credit card processors. Well, that's not easy. That's going to take a little bit of time. One of it might be you're changing software. Maybe you are writing emails. Maybe you need to get a new bookkeeper. Maybe you need to, whatever it is. Maybe it's something a lot more concrete, like creating a seminar, like time concrete, I guess, going to take more time. What if you made a list of 6 things and you prioritize them? You said, okay, this one is the number one priority. And every day, at the end of the day, you look at your calendar for the next day and you say, okay, or you might not be able to do it if you're already patient full, but you may need to plan out, take a little bit of plan out. But you say, I'm going to block out this much time to accomplish this. Now, my friend, the tail's not wagging the dog. Now the dog is in control. The dog is wagging the tail. You become in control of your calendar, and you then can start moving the ball forward in your business. Because if you can't do that, if you can't get to those big priorities, they just end up being a big priority for a year. And then it's 2 years and it's 3 years. I can hear you now. You're going, I roll. She's knows me better than I know. Like, I get it because I am you. I get it. I just this not my most proud moment. However, I did just finish a project, just finished it, that has been a project that I have wanted to accomplish for almost 5 years. And I just finished it. And it isn't because it took me 5 years to do it. It was because I finally said, okay, I am done tolerating not having this done. And I just blocked out time in my schedule and said, that's it. I'm going full bore here. I'm going to get this thing done. And it was something I didn't want to do. That didn't make it very great. It was just one of those things that I just didn't want to do, but I knew I had to do it. And so I just said, no, I don't care. I'm not going to do anything else. So I have a list of 6 big things, like, things that I really want to work on that are important for me, either to grow my business. Are you following me here? 6 things that are going to help me grow my business or take better care of my patients, or they're going to help me grow my, I should say the first one is get my brand out, right? Get marketing basically. Number 2 is taking care of the patients. And number 3 is making sure I have a viable business. Those are still my 3 highest objectives every day. But what are the things underneath there that are going to help me accomplish those things? That's the list of 6. So I have the list of 6, but this dumb task that I had to finish, it kept like falling off the list. I was like, oh, I roll. I don't want to do it. And when I finally just said, that's it, I'm done tolerating this thing. And I'm going to just do it. And oh my gosh, I felt so much better when it was done. It's off my list. But when you have your list of 6 things, I want you to find the number one priority and I want you to tackle it every day. So I think I sidetracked. I got a rabbit trail. So back to your calendar. So let's say you say, okay, here's my one project. It's to write these emails. We'll just call it that. You are going to plan every day, every single day. You're going to work on that thing every day. If it means you got to get up early, then friend, that's what you got to do. Because otherwise you're going to be 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, like me, down the road, and you still have this nagging project that you just haven't been able to get done. Running a business and being a clinician isn't for sissies. Nobody said it was easy. It takes time and it's hard work. But when you can prioritize those things, you're going to move the ball faster down the field. Because as soon as you get one done, you've got a list of 6. You get that one done, you're going to go, okay, what's number two? Now I'm going to tackle that one. Maybe number two is finding a cheaper credit card processor. Great. That might only take you 3 or 4 hours, but the time you call and get quotes and send them your credit card statements, all the things, right? And they'll quote and tell you whether they can beat your price. Fine. Then that might be it. That's number two for you. Number three might be to work on your website or build a website. Or it might be to enroll in an extensive course like FMU. You got to get enrolled and or you have to complete it. I hear that from practitioners all the time. They're like, oh, I joined FMU. I love FMU, but I joined FMU, but I haven't finished it yet. So maybe that's your thing. You're just like, I am over it, but I'm going to finish it and be done. So you have to calendar that time. So don't let your calendar be the tail that wags the dog, i.e. you, right? Don't let the calendar dictate your patient schedule and all the things, so that stuff starts to dictate you. At the end of the day, you didn't get anything done that helps you achieve and move those objectives, those 3 key objectives you have for your practice forward. Does this make sense? I know. I do tend to be the queen of unfinished thoughts and sentences, but at the end, I think I wrap it all up pretty good. So your goal here is to write down 6 things that are big priorities for you right now, like big projects or priority or something that you can do. Please do not write down, build a new house. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about things in your business, in your chiropractic practice, in your acupuncture business, in your health coaching business, whatever your discipline, whether you're a pharmacist or a nurse or an MD, DO, don't care. In your business, what are the 6 things, top 6, that you think if I do these things, my business is going to be more successful, or I, as a clinician, am going to be able to serve my patients better, or I have been able to get the word out about what I do, help other people know more about what I do. Whether that's social media or whether it's doing some kind of a health talk or creating a webinar. I have lots of practitioners I work with, that I coach with, that are doing webinars or they're doing online trainings as a way to get the word out about what they do. If that's you, if that's what you want to do to grow that business and get the word out about what you do, then that should be on your 6 priorities. And then if that's your number 1, then you say, okay, today, I got an hour set aside and I'm going to work on creating a webinar, and I got to work on what I want to talk about. So you're going to ideate. Maybe you use AI to help you come up with some ideas, or maybe you start penciling it out and writing it out. Maybe that's all you get done that day. But hey, listen, that's more than you got done the day before. And then the next day, you got time. Maybe it's only half an hour the next day. But you take that idea and you percolate it a little bit more. And maybe by the end of the week, you've got your idea and you've got an outline. Good job. It's more than you had the week before. So I want you to take action. Write down the 6 things, choose the first one, and do not do anything until that first one is done. If it takes you a month to get it done, don't get distracted. Just stay right on it. Get it done. Keep going. Don't stop until it's done. Because your rabbit, squirrel, monkey brain, we call it, wants to be distracted by all the things. Oh, there's a webinar I want to watch. Oh, there's this I want to watch. You say no to all of that. And you put the blinders on and you get focused on getting that one thing done. You will move your business forward so much faster. You're going to leave your competition in the dust, friend. So this week, your job, write down those 6 things, choose the one that's most important to you, and get started. And if you need help knowing how to prioritize or how to get started, I am here to help you, friend. I got you. You can always, if you'd like, I'll chat with you absolutely free in a 15-minute call and help you get really clear on what those priorities are, how you need to move forward, and maybe how you can negotiate your schedule. Whatever it is, I'm here. I'm happy to help. So if you'd like to schedule a strategy call with me, all you have to do is go to rondanelson.com/strategy. Super easy. Schedule that call with me. I would be more than happy to chat with you, and I can help you get focused and get your direction headed in the right direction, your focus headed in the right direction, so that you can start making progress in your business. Because otherwise, a year from now, you're going to go, oh, I'm in the same spot I was. 2 years from now, same spot I was. My income isn't growing. I'm not doing it. It's because the tail's wagging the dog. Your calendar and the way that you manage your time and organize yourself around that time is the key to making progress in your business. So I'm here for you. Thanks for being a listener. Love having you here. If you love the podcast, please take a minute, rate and review. Love it. And always, as always, subscribe and turn on those notifications so that you do know when a new podcast comes out every Tuesday. All right, my friend, take care. Have a great week. I'll be back with you on the Clinical Entrepreneur Podcast next week. Bye for now.